From the broad walk borders to the nearby Evolution Garden, tens of thousands of flowers are vying for attention. Because in the plant kingdom, summer is all about sex. And the objects of their affection are the bees. Look ravishing, smell nicer, or taste delicious, and you'll attract all the pollinators you need. Many of these bees come from Kew's own hives, looked after by beekeeper Clear Jones.
So the smoke masks the attack pheromone smell, so the bees don't smell the other bees, if that makes sense. And also it makes them think there's a fire nearby, and they think, right, we're going to need to evacuate, let's eat some honey, and because they're eating so much honey, they sort of start getting tired and sleepy because they're quite full.
Clear's colonies number over 100,000 bees, and summer is when they're at their busiest, pollinating flowers across the gardens.
Bees bring back the nectar inside their bellies, and also there are some enzymes in there from their body, and that changes it into honey. A hive normally has like 90% of it will be worker bees, and 10% will be drones in the summer. So here's this fat guy here, you can see he's a drone. Drones don't sting, they haven't got a stinger. He mates with the queen when they go out for their mating flight.
Clear's bees aren't just here for their pollinating and honey-making skills. The hives are positioned right next to the quarantine area, where every new plant has to pay a visit before it can join the collection.
Plants coming into the UK, they need to be quarantined for an amount of time to make sure they haven't got any issues with them. They come from all over the world and you don't know what's on them, so the hives are here so that if something does come through, they're likely to go to these hives, and then we've spotted it and hopefully stop it from spreading anywhere else.
Like the canary in a coal mine, if anything happens to these bees, it could be the first sign of an invader in the quarantine zone. The latest nasty is a small hive beetle from southern Italy that's been destroying entire bee colonies.
It's really bad for the hive. You've got these little small beetles, they just overrun the hive and then the bees just die off. So I have a government bee inspector comes out regularly to check the hives. Another pest is the Asian hornet. They're coming into the UK now slowly, so we want to make sure that we alert the bee inspector and they try and find the nest and eradicate the rest before they spread out.
So far, Clear's bees have passed the inspector's tests, and his reward is some very special honey.
That is really good.
Inside one of Kew Gardens' smallest glasshouses lives one of its biggest residents, the giant Victoria waterlily. For 170 years, this exotic plant has been captivating its horticulturists. Now another set of expert eyes is taking an even closer interest.
It's pretty tough. You've got to watch the prickles too, because they like to draw blood.
Botanical artist Lucy has been given one of the water lily's enormous flower buds.
Oh, I love this bit. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? They're a little bit addictive, these flowers. Folded in here are all the white petals. We've then got these stamens. That's where the pollen comes from eventually. Beautiful colours on those. And then here, this whole spiky green part is the big ovary, and each one of these has the potential to become a new seed.
This alien-looking bud is actually quite shy. It only opens up to flower for pollination for 2 nights every year.
So what happens in the wild is when this flower opens, it opens just enough on the first night for the beetles that pollinate it to crawl through this chamber and get trapped in here for a whole day long. The flower closes back up over them and they're covered in pollen from another flower, and their pollen gets stuck onto this yellow surface, and the pollen makes its way down to fertilise these ovules.
Working from a fresh bud allows Lucy the luxury of seeing every detail.
We are still finding out new things about those plants through drawing them, through writing about them, and of course through DNA analysis as well. It's amazing to be part of that lineage of botanical illustrators working together with the botanists, continuing to look at plants and discover new things about them. This water lily specimen here was collected by someone called Balanza in 1875. And he's collected parts of a leaf, but also a flower. He even got some seeds. So there's some precious seeds in here. I'm really grateful that somebody could have collected this nearly 150 years ago. My goal for these illustrations is to show future generations what these flowers look like and give them a chance to look inside them.
Studying the closed bud is one thing, but Lucy is hoping to catch the water lily in its full flowered glory. But she could have only one chance this year. While the plant residents settle down for the night, in the water lily house, things are stirring. The giant water lily has produced a giant flower bud. Although nearly 10 o'clock at night, botanical artists Lucy and Selene are on water lily watch.
If you want to see the beautiful bloom, you have to be here in dark hours. But it takes its time, so our hope is that we will open and we will see it fully open. Okay, turn.
Oh yeah, it has. It was facing towards the middle.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
In the wild, the flower opens up to attract a tiny beetle to pollinate it. The beetle triggers an amazing transformation, turning the flower from a female white to a male pink. On the second night, when the beetle is released, it takes with it this newly male flower's pollen, ready to start the process again.
It looked so good. First thing this evening, it was upright, its sepals were peeling back, you could start to see the white petals, and now it's just kind of, it's flopped, hasn't it?
In the wild, the flower opening mechanism is triggered by falling nighttime temperatures.
Yeah, it's closing up.
Can you smell it?
Oh yeah, God. Oh,
It should be really strong.
It's like anise a bit.
Yeah.
Or licorice. It's really
Strong.
Oh well, I think it's gone. There could be some water that went in the flower and therefore would have damaged all those female part or male part of the flower, which is not good.
After nearly 6 months of growing and waiting, it's a disappointment.
This one has decided not to behave. It's a mystery.
It shows how tricky coaxing these flowers into bloom is, even for the experts. As for Lucy, it looks like she'll have to wait patiently till next year. By morning, it's all action stations for the summer cycle ride. The only trouble is, the weather still isn't playing ball. With the gardens only open for the cyclists, they get a unique experience. Viewing the gardens from 2 wheels.
I think it's our first time cycling through.
Yeah, it's been fun. We can see more of the park since we're biking, and well, it's just nice going through the nature.
I don't think we've ever actually had a picnic right here before.
No, we normally hide under a tree.
Problem is we keep on going around in circles.
We did go around the one way, the wrong way.